Aw, yeah. Welcome back to the Audacity Podcast. I am the man on the street. And today on the Audacity Podcast, what we're going to be talking about is what? The Dave Chappelle SNL Monologue. Hey, they got the Anti-Defamation League up in an uproar. Also, let's talk about this Kyrie Irving situation. Man, when will this thing ever end? I don't know. Do you? So, are you ready? I know I am. So let's go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Audacity Podcast. I am the man on the street. And like I said earlier, hey, the Anti-Defamation League is after Dave Chappelle. Why? Because of his monologue on SNL. Man, I thought it was kind of funny. But you know how we go, man. Everybody's very sensitive right now. You can't even talk about, nobody. I guess he can only talk about black people. Like he said before, when he used the N-word, nobody said anything. But once he stepped outside the box to start talking about other people, man, all hell broke loose. But now Dave Chappelle, I don't think he really gives a damn. First, the LGBTQ community was after him. But now it's the Anti-Defamation League. But hey, Dave Chappelle gonna stand by his own. And that's what comedy is for. Comedy is a reflection of what you see in the mirror. So let's take a listen to this monologue. Man, what a great monologue. What? You didn't get a chance to hear it or see it? Yeah, I know why. Hey, I got a thing from YouTube saying that it was copyrighted material. So I wasn't able to show it to you. But if you want to, go to the SNL YouTube channel and you'll be able to see it. And I think it's Dave Chappelle's best work so far. But what I would like us to do is listen to the Anti-Defamation League and hear what they had to say about the monologue on SNL.
Talking about Kanye, or Ye's, anti-Semitic comments, and about NBA star Kyrie Irving's actions.
Yeah, he used his guest monologue on Saturday Night Live to give his take on all the social media blowback, but ended up getting some backlash of his own. Here's a sample of what he said.
Early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and juice. I've never heard someone do good after they said that. I've been in Hollywood, this was just what I saw. It's a lot of juice. Like a lot. But that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't mean we run the place. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You just can't.
Judy Gold is a comedian and friend of Dave Chappelle. She's also the author of Yes, I Can Say That. When they come for the comedians, we are all in trouble. And she is here with us. Judy, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So you saw the monologue. That was probably half of the 15-minute monologue.
Right.
What did you think?
You know, I laughed at a lot of the stuff. I know Dave. I love Dave. And some of it made me feel uncomfortable. You know, I feel one way as a comedian. I feel another way as a Jew. And it's a tough time for us. And I think the last thing you showed was when he said you can't blame a black person for the Holocaust. Yeah. And it didn't get a response because no one ever has blamed black people for the Holocaust. So I think there's comparing atrocities is not a good, I don't think it's a helpful dialogue to have, but everyone is talking about this now. And Jews are in a really scary place. And you think about Kanye and you think about, Ye, and you think about Kyrie, and you think about their reach. They have more followers than there are Jews in the world. We are 2% of the population of the United States, and we're 0.2% of the population in the entire world. So when you are sending a link about a movie that denies the Holocaust, it's not really a careful or thought out thing to do, especially when there's so few of us. And, I would never I don't have that many followers, but maybe after today, but, I would never, ever send a link denying that slavery ever happened.
Well, that's
you know?
the point. That I feel like, Judy, that's the distinction that Dave Chappelle, who is so charismatic. I mean, I will
yes.
watch him read the telephone book. He's so charismatic. He has such a winning, I think, delivery at all times. However, he is being a little disingenuous there because nobody is blaming Black Americans for the Holocaust, but they are blaming Black athletes and Black artists for perpetuating anti-Semitic tropes. That's what they were blaming them for. So he fudged that a little bit.
So yes, that didn't make sense to me. And people go to Dave to get his perspective, and that's his perspective. And as a comedian, I believe he can say whatever he wants. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to laugh at it.
You think he can say anything he wants? I mean, isn't there a line?
There is a line, but you decide. The audience decides. You know, George Carlin famously said, it's the comedian's job to cross the line, find it, cross it, and make the audience glad that you did. And you think about other comedians who've been jailed. Lenny Bruce, a Jew who was jailed, and they got him on cursing, but it was really that he was talking about segregation and the Vietnam War and things the government didn't truths. You know, you speak truth to power. That's the greatest comedy of all. You know, and I think it has to be based in the truth. But this is Dave's perspective, and people look up to him, and he really is a really nice guy. I don't, you know, some of the stuff did make me feel uncomfortable.
We were talking during the break about the tweet from Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the Anti-Defamation League, where he tweeted, I'll read just a line here, why are Jewish sensitivities denied or diminished at almost every turn? We talk a lot about these issues, as we should.
Right.
But do you see that Jewish sensitivities are denied or diminished at every turn?
I don't think at every turn. I think he's being specific about comedy and laughing at something that is not really based in reality or the truth. So, yeah, I hear people always, oh, yeah, I saw the movie. Oh, yeah, oh, she had to give her kid away. It was sad. But then there's so many people. I mean, the Holocaust ended 17 years before I was born. That's not a long time ago. And yet people know nothing. It's not taught in schools. And we see what happens when things are not taught in schools. Yeah. Like, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I wish that someone had taught me that when I was growing up, you know? It's about basing all your comedy in truth and doing your due diligence and realizing, you know, Dave, he's funny, he's a great guy, but he's got a lot of ears, and, you know.
But did he miss the mark here?
I think he missed it a little bit at the end, you know, but I laughed at a lot of it, you know.
Yeah, I understand. It can be both those things.
Right.
Judy, thanks for coming in. Great to get your perspective.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back to the Rita Panahi Show. Joining me now from New York is author, broadcaster, and relationship expert, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. Rabbi, thank you so much for your time. Let's start with one of the best comics working today, Dave Chappelle. He's funny as well as insightful, but he has sparked outrage in some quarters with accusations that his monologue on Saturday Night Live was normalising anti-Semitism. Now, in the opener, he was referring to the Kanye West saga. Let's have a look, and I'm interested in your take on whether this is anti-Semitic or comedy.
Before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. I gotta tell you guys, I've probably been doing this 35 years now. And early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and Jews. I've never heard someone do good after they said that.
Rabbi, I thought it was funny. I don't think what we saw there is glorifying anti-Semitism or normalizing it, but I'll defer to your judgment.
Jews have a sense of humor. I saw it live. It was hilarious. My wife and I were cracking up. Dave Chappelle is not an anti-Semite. Jews can take a joke. We have to always distinguish between true racism, bigotry, anti-Semitism, and just humor. Now, Kanye West had every opportunity to repudiate the disgusting, vile things he said about Jews that feeds into every anti-Semitic trope that has led to so much violence against Jews. We're bloodsuckers, we're leeches, we're parasites. He just keeps on digging deeper into that anti-Semitic pit. But Chappelle was kind of making fun of it, and he's being pilloried for that monologue on Saturday Night Live when America actually does need a good laugh. Let's not cry wolf, by which we would degrade real anti-Semitism.
Absolutely. That is such an important point. And it's as true for racism as well. When people call things that are clearly not racist, it really cheapens the real legitimate cases of racism. But the fact that Dave Chappelle has gone against this entire woke orthodoxy, he's challenged the excesses of the trans movement, he's challenged the notion that every Trump supporter must be racist, well, that's seen him attacked, and Saturday Night Live was also attacked, saying that he shouldn't be guest host. But this is a man, Rabbi, who, along with Ricky Gervais, is probably the leading comic geniuses of his generation.
Look, Rita, you know, we in the United States are so divided along partisan lines that all we do is hate each other, attack each other. We all need to laugh together. In fact, laughter is one of the great balms. It's one of the great remedies to hatred. It's where you don't take yourself so seriously. I want to do our utmost to purge society of racism, bigotry. But when we take it to an extreme that a comic can no longer have an edge, that a comic can no longer say kind of somewhat incendiary jokes that makes people laugh at themselves, then we're going to create such a serious kind of 1984 society with Big Brother watching us over every single comment that it's going to breed almost like a mental health crisis, which we're already in, because people will be afraid that every comment is something for which they can be attacked. There is real racism. There is real anti-Semitism. Kanye West is a real anti-Semite. David Chappelle is not.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think that was some of Dave Chappelle's best work since the Chappelle Show. And he has a lot of good comedy lately. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Anti-Defamation League is coming after Dave Chappelle. I guess they're trying to boycott him just like the LGBTQ community did. But like I said, I don't think the jokes were very malicious. I thought it was very good. And, hey, you got what you got. But Dave Chappelle, hey, stick by your guns, man. Stick by your guns, because that's what comedy is for. That's what comedy is for. Also, let's talk about this. Why is everybody so sensitive? I know, listen to comedians from back in the day, man, everybody was on point. Everybody could get it. From George Carlin to Richard Pryor to Eddie Murphy. I mean, nobody was excluded from comedy. But nowadays, it seems though that we can't say anything. You know what I'm saying? If you say something that somebody disagree with you about, all hell's gonna break loose. Even if you're not trying to be malicious. So, I guess comedy's gonna be a thing of the past here coming pretty soon. But we all need to laugh. If you don't laugh, what you gonna do? You know, you like a good comedy show. I know I do. Went to one the other night. Saw our brother, Sir Cedric. Hey, he was pretty good. He was kind of funny. He was real funny. My side was hurting laughing so much. But like I said before, you got to watch what you say. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. I know we got the First Amendment that give us freedom of speech. But when freedom of speech is counted against you, what can you do? What can you do? There's nothing you can do. All you could do is what? To push on. And that's what we've been doing. So ladies and gentlemen, freedom of speech is there for a reason. And also you have to remember, when you say things, there's going to be repercussions. And if there's repercussions, hey, you got to be able to live with it. And I think that's what Dave Chappelle's going to do. I think that's what Kyrie Irving is going to do. You know, Kanye West, you know, I didn't agree with everything that he said, but he's living with that repercussions. And I think Kanye's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay. So let the man on the street know what you think. about this situation in the comments below. And that's from your man on the street. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next subject I want to talk about, this Kyrie Irving situation. Man, I thought this thing was coming to an end, but I guess not. I guess the brother's still serving his suspension. But the reason why I'm talking about this again is that I heard Charles Barkley on this CNN show where he gave his own opinion about the situation. So what I like for us to do is take a listen to this conversation and let the man on the street know what you think. Is Charles right?
Joining us now, basketball legend, NBA analyst, Mr. Charles Barkley. Good morning to you, sir. I really appreciate you joining us.
Of course, Don. Thank you guys for having me.
Why so outspoken, especially when it comes to this issue? You know, even as someone you're covering sports, but you're speaking out about issues that have to do with culture and society. Why so outspoken about this?
Well, Don, I don't like that word outspoken because I hope anybody who sees racism in any form whatsoever should stand up, whether it's against a black person, a Hispanic person, a Jewish person, Asian. Asian hate's going a big deal in this country right now. So anybody should try to do the right thing. If you see something wrong when it comes to race or homophobic or sexist, you should always say something. So, and I'm always going to do that. I don't care about the repercussions. If I see something wrong happening, Don, I'm going to say something.
How do you think the league should deal with it? Because, listen, he's still on suspension, but how do you think the league should deal with it? The reason I ask is because, you know, everyone is speaking out about it. Kyrie Irving is facing, you know, what he's facing. But the league let him go for a long time. They sort of are forcing him to apologize, but what if these are his real beliefs? Should they be dealing with that as well? Maybe they have someone who actually believes these things. I'm not saying it's right. Instead of forcing him to apologize, maybe they should be dealing with that part of it.
Actually, that's a great question, Don. People have the right to feel and say what they want to. We have freedom of speech, but there are repercussions when you say certain things. Listen, I don't know Kyrie Irving. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I think he's been suspended, rightfully so, and I think he should come back and play in the NBA. But, you know, that's a really slippery slope because, you know, people always talk about freedom of speech, freedom of effect, or you say whatever you want to, but there are repercussions. I mean, and he's paying for that right now, but this thing with free speech has really gotten out of hand, Don. I mean, you just can't go around insulting people and think it's okay just because it's freedom of speech.
Well, people say, well, listen, if I don't get to say what I say, it's cancel culture. And I don't know if you probably do not agree with that.
You know, I don't like use the term cancel culture because I don't want anybody counsel. But you should be called to the carpet if you said something wrong. You know, I don't believe somebody should lose their job or things like that. But you should be called out if you said something stupid. Hey, I've been called out many times, and I have no problem with that. But I hate the term cancel culture because very few people are canceled. Let's be honest and realistic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can I ask something real quick that I didn't think? Did you? Maybe you didn't see it, so you might not be able to answer. Did you see SNL? Did you see Dave Chappelle, his monologue?
I did not,
Yeah.
but listen, let me just say this. I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. I have a really strict line on racism, sexism, homophobic, things like that. It's just wrong. It's nothing to joke about. It's a very serious subject. You know, Don, it's crazy. I'm almost 60 years old, and I grew up in Alabama, you know, and obviously I know about Montgomery, Selma, Birmingham, things like that. To still be having racial conversations 60 years later, and we're debating whether people have the right to say it and joke about it, it just makes me sad.
Yeah.
It makes me mad, but it really just makes me sad that 60 years later, we're still having racial conversations 60 years later.
And more than a decade ago, I do have to say, and then I'll let you guys jump in here because I don't want to hog the conversation. One of the first people to contact me after I came out was this man right here. And that was over a decade ago. So these issues are really important to you, and you always stand up for people's individual rights.
Well, Don, first of all, one thing that always has disturbed me as a black person, which really bothers me about the Kyrie Irving situation and the Kanye West situation, first of all, being black in America is already hard enough. And for us to go at other ethnic groups just makes things worse, because it's hard enough being black. And one thing has always disappointed me, black people treat gay people, we are the worst when it comes to treating gay people. And that's one thing growing up, it really always bothers me. And I want to reach out to you and all my gay friends, all my transgender friends, and tell you, man, I got nothing but love and respect for you. I want you to be you. And I wanted you to know that day, because I understand being black, what it's like being gay, because you get mistreated, and it's really unfortunate and sad and stupid, to be honest with you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was Charles Barkley on CNN this morning with Don Lemon and the rest of the ladies. Do you agree with Charles? You know what I'm saying? Do you agree with him talking about Kyrie Irving and the Dave Chappelle situation? You know, he has some good points. You know, I don't think anybody should be discriminated against because of their race, religion, or if they're a man or a woman, or if you're gay or transgender. Hey, love who you love. You know, that's what the world is made for. That's what the world is all about these days. Love who you love. If you want to marry a man, marry a man. You want to marry a woman, marry a woman. Hey, it's your choice. It's your life. You only get one shot at it. So live it to the fullest, you know. But he made some great points. And the man on the street want to know, do you agree with Charles? Or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comments, okay? And that's from the man on the street. Yes, I would like to thank you for listening to the Audacity Podcast. I am the man on the street. And if you like what you heard, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, hit that thumbs up button to let me know that I'm doing a good job. And with that,